What's up, guys? This is John Grajeda here, JC Radio, October Talk. You know, we talk in October about different spooky things here, there, and that. I got another guest today. Cody and Alex, again, busy with their lives and stuff, which is completely cool. But our guest today is somebody that's been on the show twice? Yeah, twice now already, so not that big of a surprise. But Scott Eames, everybody. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, once again. The third time you've been on here. What, like, you just bored, or?
This is the best musicians can do right now is, just keep talking and stay as busy as possible while we have all this downtime, quote. Supposed to be downtime, but...
Supposed to be, so. Well, what have you been doing since the quarantine? Last we talked to you was right before your European tour last year with Nevalra. You had mentioned that you had other projects coming up with Nevalra and Antichrist, and you were only in those two bands at the time. So have you been in any other bands since then?
Yeah, the opportunity came up to be the vocalist for Vital Remains.
Awesome.
And, they're a legendary death metal band from, way back into the early 90s, and I've known about them. I followed them since I was, high school. And when that opportunity came up, I definitely jumped up for that. And to say that you got to be the front man of one of the bands you listened to back in high school, it was pretty surreal. So I've been doing some stuff with Vital Remains for a while now. And ironically, on Halloween, that's when they announced me anyway. That's when it was official. It'll be the 1-year anniversary of being in Vital Remains.
That's freaking rad, man. So I guess what has Vital Remains been up to since the pandemic?
Oh, man. Well, the original founding member, Tony Lazzaro, he's actually had some health problems, and so he's been in and out of the hospital with some pretty serious stuff.
Oh, man.
He's had some surgeries. He had 4 surgeries, brain surgeries.
Wow.
And so, it sounds really bad, but it was kind of like the best timing possible for him. Nobody's touring and all that kind of stuff, for him for his bad luck to kind of hit there. But, the good luck has followed it. It sounds like after a big rough patch of him doing lots of hospital stuff and surgeries and things, that it seems like he's coming out of it. Hopefully, he'll be back on his feet. Looks like he's back on his feet, and I try not to bother him too much because, he has more important things to worry about than answering some stupid messages from me. So
I got you. Well, I mean, that's sad to hear, but again, great to hear that, I guess, yeah, the timing couldn't be any better for something like that.
The silver lining, I guess, in a bad scenario.
Yeah, of course. I know you say you haven't, try to not bother him too much, which is understandable. Have you talked about maybe future music or future tours or anything with him?
Yeah, he's just he's kind of left it open-ended, because all this kind of shut down and his own scenarios, and he's like, stay ready, when we get the chance, we're gonna go do it. The market is gonna just flood itself when we're allowed to go finally, and he's one of the most well-connected guys in the scene, so he could call me up and be like, hey, we're headed to Mexico or South America or Europe, wherever, pretty quick. So I try to stay pretty sharp on that. I thought when I had joined the band, I was like, cool, I'm going to crush these vocals. I'm already familiar, with a lot of their music and stuff. It's a completely different thing once, you take the vocals out of it completely. And a lot of the lyrics, they don't repeat themselves and stuff, and they bounce a certain way in the music. So it was pretty difficult, honestly. I thought it was going to be fairly easy, because I was pretty familiar with it. But once I got rolling with trying to memorize all the material, because they're pretty well-known, legendary songs, so you got a lot of the crowd that know every word, and they're singing along with you, and I wanted to make sure that I absolutely nailed it. So I try to stay sharp now that I do have all that. I killed myself to get that right before that first tour came up. And now, we got a little bit of time. I'm trying to stay sharp with that kind of material because it's easy for some of that to fade, when you're not playing live and having the live cues are different than the album cues and stuff like that.
I got you. That makes sense. So, I mean, I assume it was just very nervous to play the first few shows with them with not knowing how the crowd will react.
Yeah, it was the first time I had had any kind of nerves being on stage, or I kind of thought it might be. I've always had a guitar in front of me, so I've had the guitar between me and the crowd at all times. And I think probably the most nervous that I'd been in probably 15 years is when we did the first rehearsal, because I pretty much had to crush it because we were going on tour the next day. And, we pretty much had the one rehearsal. I think we ran through another thing or two after that, but, it was weird. It was surreal to be in the room with, some of the guys that I had looked on album covers, in the booklets and stuff. And, to be in the room and, be playing that material with them. And it's like, okay, you ready? 4 count, go. And that's where the first, oh man, I need to count all the cues. I need to make sure that I'm paying attention. I didn't, and I didn't perform per se, it was just a rehearsal room. Yeah. So it was like the nervousness was there for a whole set. I didn't miss anything, which, a few times it got towards what's next? And then it would hit me right as it was coming in. It's kind of like muscle memory from my brain, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that was the nervousness, I would say, is more or less the rehearsal room. And then once we get up on stage, it's just, it's back to normal. I know how to kind of interact with the crowd and stuff. And it was kind of fun because, like I said, I've always had a guitar. And I didn't have a guitar, and I thought I was going to be like, well, what do I do?
That would have been weird.
Build that, but the best way I've put it is it was kind of like turning the lunatic loose, because I was not tied to a guitar anymore. So I was, messing with people on the stage and off the stage, and, grabbing them by the hair, and they're screaming in the mic with me. And, I was just had a blast with it. So it was freed me up a little bit.
It was like the animal inside was caged up by the guitar, but since the cage wasn't there anymore, you were just let's do this.
Yeah, it definitely set me free to where, I wasn't tied down to anything. And I don't want to say less responsibility, but I had different kind of responsibilities, because when I'm doing the ball run, I'm the front man. I need to interact, but I have to interact differently because I have a guitar on. I got to do a pedal board while I'm doing vocals. You know what I mean? So not having a lot of those things made it to where I could really interact like I've always kind of dreamed of doing.
That's pretty cool, man. Speaking of, so you mentioned Nevalra. I haven't really seen anything recently on Nevalra lately. Anything in the works, or new music, or a single, or anything coming out?
Well, we filmed a few things.
Yeah.
That'll come out in the future. Because a lot of people are doing this. We're sitting in the studio showing, we'll play a song, and we're gonna, have some of those kind of videos that'll come out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And but other than that, I'm just working on new material, while I have the chance, because it's difficult to stay inspired all the time. So, when you sit down and things are kind of coming together, I hate to walk away from it. So I'm just writing material, really, and just kind of looking ahead to when, like I said, they open the market up. Everybody's going to rush in. They're all going to want the tours. And so it's just kind of right there for Nevalra right now.
I gotcha. So I Am a Liar. You guys did have something recent. You re-released your first EP.
Yeah. Through In Theory Audio, the same record label that put out Conjure the Storm. The original EP we just released independently and did a bunch of touring, and it never hit Spotify or iTunes or anything like that. We had some cool videos on YouTube, but other than that, it was on the physical albums only. So I was like, I need to get this stuff on the digital because everyone's asking for it, because after we went to Europe and played in 20 countries or whatever, everybody was looking for our stuff on Spotify, and they're like, oh, it has the album that you put out. That's cool. What about this other thing? And I was like, oh, I got to get it on all these streaming platforms. So I just called up the record label. I was like, hey, I need to get this on the streaming platforms. Are you guys interested in reissuing this thing? So we can do it properly, because I could just put it on Spotify and it'd be like, ho hum, there they are.
Yeah.
But they were excited about it. They were like, yeah, absolutely. Let's put it out. And I think Decibel Magazine was the one that did the premiere for us. And this was a news hit that we were going to reissue the album on digital streaming platforms and stuff. And a lot of fans, including yourself, I think, was like, oh, what about physical CDs, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And my inbox kind of blew up for a couple of days. My inbox was like, well, what about physical CDs? And so I screenshot a bunch of those and I sent them directly to Marco, the owner of the record label, and I was like, hey, you may want to have Decibel Magazine like reword the title or something, because people they're not catching that it's streaming only. And he's like, well, if the interest is there, you want to make some physicals. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So, thank you to you and, all the other people that hit me up for the physical idea, because it wasn't part of the original plan. And it's pretty cool that we got that, tied into there after the fact.
Oh yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, like I listen to my physical copy every day on my way back from work or to work. So I have a 5-disc CD player in my car, and I have your original EP, I have Conjure the Storm, and then I have Metallica in there, and I just rotate through all of those. So
awesome. That's good to hear.
Oh yeah. So, and everybody at the stoplights hears it too. So spreading the word, I guess. So, but no, that's really cool to hear. Especially since like during the pandemic, you're able to like release some sort of physical copy of something, even if it is old. That's actually pretty cool. We were pretty excited to get out there. We kind of had our fan base had grown a lot over that last year, just going on that tour in Europe. It was almost like 7 weeks, and we played to a lot of people that didn't know who we were yet, so we, opened ourselves up into a whole new fan base, and it was a pretty cool way to like reach back and be like, hey, these are the songs we originally put out. This is what started the whole thing. So that's pretty gnarly, man. I mean, these days you don't hear that so much, and it's just really cool that you could hear that these days, that, you had a fan base that grew and you had a reason to release something. It's just incredible.
Yeah, because to them, they knew Conjure the Storm.
Yeah.
And, after we had played for them and they had bought the album, they'd listened through it on Spotify or wherever. And for them, this reissue was new music, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know that there was something prior to that.
So we be playing any of the EP albums live now, since everybody is like reintroduced to it, or is that still just kind of like old school, might not play it live stuff?
Yeah, it'll be definitely a mixture of the two, because there's a lot of fan favorites that keep getting thrown at me. Like, definitely Groom Lake has been one that's a fan favorite.
Yes.
Terra Throne is a fan favorite. Descend and Die has always been a fan favorite because we did a music video for it. So, yeah, it'll be a mixture of the two for sure.
That'd be cool to see eventually. Are you guys doing any live streaming shows? I know a lot of bands are doing that now.
Not right now, because our drummer is in Houston. So if he gets up here for some other stuff, then we'll definitely try to set up and do something similar to that. But otherwise, we'll have to ship him in just to do, a live thing. So that's kind of why we're working on, the tracking things separately, and we'll, put together some videos, kind of like you see, like Metal Injection has been releasing some videos and stuff of, some other bands, and they're even putting together, like collaborations of lots of musicians and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I've been working on kind of in the background. A couple of collaborators have reached out to me and they're like, hey, you want to do this song with these guys? And I'm like, absolutely. So that's one of the things I'm practicing up on it, because I've been checking out some of these other videos, and these guys are like crushing it. So I was like, oh man, I better be on my game. So I've been practicing it, and I can't wait for some of this to come out, because I think we're going to surprise some people with some of these.
Okay. Any idea as to when it might be coming out, or is that still kind of in the air?
It kind of depends. Probably in the next 6 to 8 weeks, I would guess.
Okay.
We're trying to get it done fast and efficiently to take part in some other big projects. They're like releases that have like multiples of these groups of collaborators. So we'd like to take part in some of that as well. So probably in the next 6 or 8 weeks, I would guess.
Okay. All right. Looking forward to it. Last band. Man, thank goodness you don't have a fourth band, because, man, we'd be at this for days. So, third band, Antichrist, or Thy Antichrist. You did a live video with them recently, which was, I thought was entertaining.
Yeah, I tried to do a live video.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it went well.
I
But yeah, the
enjoyed
mic
it.
kept. I guess the mic was condensing everything when it was hearing distortion, and of course in black metal it is all distortion. So anytime I'd start playing, no one could hear anything.
I mean, it sounded good for like like 5 seconds. So
Yeah, and then it was trying to correct itself. It thought that there was some audio problems. So
yeah, anybody that hasn't seen that, go to the Thy Antichrist page. It was like early October, I think, or like the end of September. I can't remember when it was. Check out this live video because what you did, I thought it was incredible. I actually enjoyed it because you ended up showing a lot of your gear and a lot of what you use to record or to write new music, which to me was awesome because as a fan, I love seeing like behind the scenes stuff, and that was nothing but that.
yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that because they were like, well, you got 45 minutes to an hour, and I planned on playing a couple songs and discussing the songs and some of the parts that I play versus what Robert plays, and I had lots of things that I was going to do and play. And then once no one could hear the guitar, it kept cutting out on the audio. It sounded perfect for me.
Yeah.
But once that started to occur, I was like, oh, great. Well, I got 45 minutes and 300 people looking at me live. I was like, what the hell do I do? So I was like, well, I'll just, show you some of the gear and show you at least some of the guitars that I have out.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these times I'll set up and I'll bring out all the guitars because, I got just cases and cases of things that I could have pulled out, but I didn't want to walk away from the camera for too long.
I don't know if everyone has enough time to look at every guitar. I mean, you have a lot of guitars.
It felt weird to do that video because I wasn't sure how it was going, because I was trying to be entertaining. That was the whole point. I was trying to entertain that many people without being able to play any of the music. So I wasn't sure how it went across.
No, I thought it was really cool. I know reading in the comments, other people thought it was cool. Because again, from a fan standpoint, you don't get to see that a lot, like the actual like workstation of an artist, especially an artist that you look up to or listen to. So the fact that you're
brought I appreciate that. I'm glad it kind of went over pretty well.
Yeah, no,
I kind of felt like I was scrambling for, it felt like I was on stage and I had to entertain everyone, but I didn't have any of my gear working or so
you could have Jessica Simpson did and just done a hoedown and then ran off stage.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it went well, just to at least to entertain everyone. And
oh yeah, totally.
In such a weird scenario, so it was perfect for me. I could hear everything, and it all the microphone just kept thinking that there was super audio distortion, so it was trying to correct it, and there was no fixing it on the fly. So
yeah. So any new music on Antichrist or a new album that you'll be in or anything?
Yeah, there's just supposed to be a new album. Other than that, it's just the same thing as all the other bands. Write some new material and just kind of wait for this pandemic to finally release its hold on the entire damn world.
Any idea when the new album will be? Are you in the new album?
I'm not even sure yet. We have to talk to Napalm Records, and when it comes to promo campaigns and stuff, it really depends on time frames, what other albums are supposed to come out from which bands already have tours set up, because ideally you want to have an album release tour, which you can't do because nobody can tour. So, everything's been pushed back like an entire calendar year. So it's 100 factors really until we have any kind of info to run with.
Well, good luck on all three of those bands. Fetch, is there a fourth or fifth band coming up maybe? I mean, you're just constantly busy.
There's always room for more.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
That's how I ended up with so many damn guitars.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was philosophy like that.
I'm sure your girlfriend loves that philosophy. So, man.
Yeah, well, once you hit like 26 guitars, she doesn't notice when you bring in more.
Especially if they're all the same color, then it's just like, oh no, I've always had that one. It's the black one.
I mean, there's so many cases there. Who's telling how many there are, or how many of them have actual guitars in them?
That's it. Well, speaking of guitars, BC Rich has a whole line of guitars that are new, coming out left and right, and we know you're endorsed by BC Rich. Are you going to get any of these new guitars, or what's up with that?
Yeah, I had talked to the the CEO of BC Rich gave me a call.
No way.
Maybe a month ago, a little more than a month ago. And he said, we appreciate you being patient, but we got some stuff we're going to send you, and,
Ooh.
Just keep toiling away. We're going to work on getting your stuff over to you. And, so I thank them, and I get to check out, their entire new line coming up. So I was like super excited to get my hands on some of those.
Dude.
And some of those opportunities have come up, to collaborate on some of these big things, like I said, with all these other musicians.
Yeah.
For some cool videos. So I texted him again. I was like, hey, get that to me real quick, because I got like these other opportunities, and I want to make sure that the 2020 models are in there, rather than playing something that I've been playing,
Yeah.
So hopefully on some of these that we'll have one of the new models on some of these videos.
That'd be awesome. I know on social media you've been wanting the Iron Bird for a while. Are you getting the Iron Bird, or do you not know?
I don't know. I'm going to have to bother them a little bit more to see exactly what's available. I know the Iron Birds have been selling out left and right.
I gotcha.
So it's just going to depend, I guess, And not only that, is the 2021 models are going to be following here soon too. So I don't want to, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to jump the gun too much if there's going to be something else that would be like, oh, if I would have waited,
That'd be cool. I gotcha. Cool. Well, we spent a lot of time catching up with you, Scott, which of course always appreciated. You're awesome. You are the Wicked One, of course, and pretty dark person right there. So for this October talk, we want to talk about dark entities with you, since you are the Wicked One. If you got a minute to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Your favorite movie is, of course, The Exorcist, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
What? Okay, I guess why The Exorcist out of all the horror movies that are out there?
Oh, that's a good question. When I was growing up, I don't know. I like the slasher movies. They're cool and all, but they never like really grabbed me.
Okay.
And so like they're all. I like those as well, but they never really resonated with me the same way that like The Exorcist did. I remember when I was like maybe 12 or something. I was into the dark movies and stuff. 12, 13 years old. That's when you want to get into the real messed up stuff.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, and I remember back then my dad had told me about The Exorcist, and he was telling me what it was like when it came out, and like the effect that it had on people and crowds and the media and all those things. And I remember being like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah. As a kid or as a teenager, and then I got to see it, and I was like, oh, I gotcha. Like it was one of those few times where it was like it was not embellished. And once I had finally seen it for the first time, I was like, holy shit, And ever since, it's still my favorite movie, where you just sit back and you're like, damn, they went that far back then.
Yeah.
Are you like like now they'll go anywhere with any movie. The line has been blurred now.
Yeah, of course.
But back then, like that was really taking it far, and that's pretty cool to me.
Have you seen like any of the other, like, I guess, like modern like possession movies, like the Conjuring series or Haunting in Connecticut or anything like that? Yeah,
I like all those, and like the Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Was that any good? I never saw that.
That's a pretty good one.
Huh. It looked, to be honest, it looked like kind of like B-rated to me. And I was like, I don't know if I want to watch that one. Looks like under budgeted type of stuff.
It's pretty good.
So I guess, is it just the demons and darkness that attracts you to these movies, or is it just the fact that it's?
Yeah, to me, it's more intriguing to think that there's something like that than some weird guy with a machete chasing me. Like that doesn't like intrigue me much. Because it's too like, okay, that could really happen. But this is like, could it really happen? And if it did, how cool that would be, or how not cool that would be.
I don't think anybody ever thinks how cool would it be if Pazuzu was real.
Well, I mean, I thought that.
You thought that, of course, yeah. So, I guess the big question is like, do you believe in demons or dark entities, or I guess that's the only way I can really put that question. Like, do you believe? We'll put this way: do you believe that like Pazuzu is real?
it's kind of weird to say. Honestly, when it comes to the umbrella of all of that, I typically don't believe in any of that.
Okay.
Anything supernatural or, I hate to go there, but like religion and things, I don't feel like there's enough of anything to prove that it's there.
Okay.
But like I said, it's very intriguing to think that if it was, that would be very profound, positively or negatively, that there's something like that.
I got you.
So per se, I can't say that I do believe that something like that exists, but that's what's intriguing about it, that if it were, it would be profound.
That's pretty, okay, I got you. What about like ghosts, or like spirits walking on the earth? Like, do you believe in ghosts?
No.
No?
Not really. I mean, I haven't had any real kind of experiences. I mean, I've had experiences, I would say, but like they were always like where I was like, well, no, it was this thing, that could make this happen. So it was like the scientist part of my brain wanted to like be like, no, I'm not going to fall for this.
I got you.
So a lot of those, like the ghost shows and stuff, some of them are pretty cool. I've actually got to meet like a lot of those people that do the big, like Susan Slaughter. She's on like the Travel Channel.
Yeah.
And she actually booked the Antichrist in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
So I caught some of her shows here recently as well. I was just flipping through, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. And I was like, I know her. And Zach Baggins, we went to the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, and he does the Ghost Adventures. He's one of the bigger names in that. And so we went to Vegas. That's one of me and my girlfriend's favorite things to do is just go hang in Vegas for 4 or 5 days. And, she likes to get all gutsied up in the dresses and stuff.
Of course.
And so we go there, and we went to the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum, and we walked through there, and for most of it, I was rolling my eyes, as you can imagine. And but one of the cool things is we got to meet him. He actually happened to be showing up as we were leaving, so we caught him out back behind the thing after it was all over with, and it wasn't like he was there taking pictures or anything. He was just passing by, and we're like, hey. So I got to say hey to him and like meet him officially, and we took a couple photos and stuff. So it's pretty cool that I've met and I've got to hang out with some of these people a little bit, and they believe very thoroughly that these things exist because they have probably had better experiences than I would have ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So but for me, I don't really think I do.
I got you. I mean, I'm pretty
unless something
open.
Happens between now and whatever.
When like sometime in life, I've had two experiences with ghosts and demons. The first time me admitting that on the show. Well, 2 weeks ago I admitted that I had a ghost experience, which was kind of creepy. I don't know how to explain it, so like a ghost is the only way for me to explain it. And I had like a mirror on the wall of like my house. It was like on one side of the living room, and my whole family went outside to like play or hang out. So no one was in the house, and we came back inside and the mirror was on like the other side of the room. And that happened like twice. And keep in mind, I'm like a kid, so I'm like freaking out, and I'm trying to like think of a logical reason why that's over there. And the most logical thing is maybe my older brother snuck in and moved it just to play a joke on us. But even then, that didn't make sense. So I mean, like, I'm pretty open to the thought of like ghosts, and I've had an experience with what I believe was a demon. I wasn't like possessed or anything like that, but I'm not going to talk about that on here though. But if you want to hear it later, I'll talk about it with you. But so I pretty much believe in it just because of the experiences that I've had. But talking to other people have been like, well, maybe it was just your imagination, because the human mind can pull those tricks on you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just incredible thinking about all this. So I know when we first met and we interviewed you, I mentioned where the name Nevalra came from. And you mentioned that it was like a dark entity in a dream, and you asked its name, and its name was Nevalra. Would you say that was your, I guess, demon experience, or what would you say that was?
I've thought about that a lot since. What I think is intriguing about that is it was a recurring dream where I would talk to this thing all the time. Where it was about like philosophy and religion and, big picture things, and I always felt like really strange when I'd wake up and be like, because it happened again and then it happened again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were different discussions, but it was a recurring dream, but different. And, once it revealed its name as Nevalra, it didn't mean much to me at the time, but, I was transitioning between bands and I was writing material and whatever that like completely has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah.
So I wrote some songs and stuff before I had a lineup. Once I had a lineup, got everybody in order, I was teaching everyone the songs and stuff. I was like, we got to call ourselves something. And then it dawned on me, later on after rehearsals or whatever, that I could name it Nevalra, the band and the project.
Yeah.
And once I named the band and the project and the songs and that entity is, once I named it Nevalra, the dreams stopped and they haven't come back since. So I thought that, maybe this is like a weird subconscious thing of how I can pour all of me into this thing. And now that it's out, it's no longer just within me. It's out there for everyone. And now I don't have those dreams anymore. So that's what was pretty cool for me.
I got you.
I think it was some sort of subconscious something because it's never come back.
All right. I got you. Well,
whatever that may be.
What if it never come back because it's like mission was complete to get its name out there? Ooh.
Well, then you're all on the hook.
Dang it, I'm screwed. I have so much of your merch. Gosh darn it. Well, it's just crazy to me just to hear that story. And I'm like, my first thought was, oh, good. I'm glad it's not just me because I've had similar dreams like that. But again, I don't know if it was a subconscious thing or not. Do you remember what this entity looked like?
It was just like it's really hard to describe. It's just like a vague figure. And you know how dreams are anyway. So when you wake up, you kind of remember what happened and you kind of don't. So it's a little bit of that. And then the parts that I do remember is it's just like a dark figure of some sort. There was no face or
like a shadow.
There was no form per se. So it's very open-ended and it's super vague. And, it was like that to begin with, but I do remember having discussions with it, and it's more or less fortifying the way I feel about a lot of these subjects and stuff with those discussions.
Yeah.
And on top of that, once it told me that was the name of it, like I said, it was completely unrelated. Once I got the band rolling, I was like, hey, maybe I'll just name it that. That's a pretty cool name.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything kind of stopped from there. And then it dawned on me later. I was like, wow, that's pretty weird.
That's crazy, man. Do you remember its voice? Like, was it like a cliche, like deep demon voice? Kind of like how your voice is on your albums? Or is it like something different?
No, I don't think it had a voice that I can remember. I think it was more like just, as weird as that sounds, like kind of like a telepathy thing.
No, I got you.
If that makes sense. I don't remember a specific voice.
This is October talk. Everything like that makes sense. No, that's just crazy because I've been wanting to ask you for a while about Nevalra. Because I've talked to people about it. People are like, hey, where did Nevalra come from? And I tell people it's the name of a demon, I guess in short terms. I'll tell them the whole story if I have enough time. And that seems to roll pretty well.
Or you can point them to your podcast now.
Well, I can point. Yeah, there you go. It's like, well, let me show you.
Subscribe to this.
Subscribe, make a donation, and then I'll tell you. But I mean, have you ever thought about doing like maybe like band artwork or like an album cover of the entity?
Yeah, I had thought about that, but I'm not sure how I would present it because, like I said, it's kind of just a vague thing. So I think if I were, because I had actually thought about that like in detail, if I were to do something like that, I would have to be more abstract than what I actually saw because it would be a pretty boring cover.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I would have to like abstract it up and make it really presentable in a different way than what I had seen.
I got you. It could be like a Rorschach test. So you just have this like, instead of like an ink blob, it could be like a dark figure. And it's whatever you see in it. It's what it is. If you want to get that deep, I don't know.
You never know. It could be that thing on the front of Conjure the Storm.
It could be. I thought that the first time. I was like, was that the demon? But I saw it and I was like, no, I don't think so. I just thought that was just really cool artwork. So, which I'm not gonna lie, that artwork scared the crap out of me when I saw it. So
good.
I'm saying like that was probably the goal. I didn't show my wife for a while because she gets scared easily. which is why we don't watch scary movies together. So I was like, hey, the artwork came out. She goes, oh, let me see it. And I went, nope, not yet.
Yeah, a good friend of ours, Seth, from Septic Flesh. We did a tour with Septic Flesh. They're like an insanely awesome band.
Yeah.
We did a tour with them and Dark Funeral, and Seth is an amazing artist. And, of course, we were one of the support bands. We were the only support band. They were kind of doing a co-headlining tour, and we did, I think it was like 5 weeks with those guys. And, we made great friends with them, and I didn't want to bother him on the side for stupid things like this,
Yeah.
Well, my other band, blah, blah, blah. So, I didn't want to do that. So, at the end of the tour, everybody gets together for the tour wrap.
Yeah.
So everybody gets the photo and everybody hangs out, and says their goodbyes and that kind of thing. So that's when I was like, maybe that's a good time to mention this. I was like, hey, I'm a great fan of your artwork, off of the stage. And I was like, I'm going to hit you up, not anytime soon, but I'm going to bother you in the next few months or so.
Mm-hmm.
If you're cool with doing that. And absolutely, he's Greek, so he's very serious.
Yeah.
And and he was absolutely on board to do that. He said, just let me know ahead of time so I have time to do it. And so I sent him an email months and months later. I was like, I sent him the whole album in its entirety. I was like, here's what we're going for. This is the name of the album. This is all the lyrics, all the music. Here's what the band looks like, everything. I sent him everything. It was like, I kind of outlined what I saw for the cover maybe. And because I knew he had a really demented, twisted way of seeing things.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want you to do your thing with these ideas in mind. And he sent me the first few shoots that were over because they superimpose like lots of things. So that's actually a woman that's on that, believe it or not.
I did gather that much.
And so he sent me some of the first things, and I was like, oh, he's getting dark with this. And then the further it got, the more messed up it got. And I was like, this is exactly why I wanted him to do this.
That's awesome.
Because I knew when we dropped, and we actually had a bunch of different, I think probably like 10 or 12 different versions of the cover. And we trimmed it down to 2 covers, and we couldn't decide on which of the 2 covers was going to be the main one. So then I presented the 2 of those to the record label In Theory, and they were like, well, we're doing a vinyl release, correct? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, why don't we just use both covers? And I was like, oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up with 2 covers, if we couldn't decide on which one was the main one. So we have the regular CD cover, and then we have the LP limited edition one with the weird babies that are all aborted or whatever he did.
Yeah. I just thought they were just like twin fetuses is what it was. So
yeah, it's open to interpretation. Yeah. But that's how we ended up. We got the 2 different covers. They're similar, but they are very different. Is we couldn't decide, and neither could he. Seth he loved both of them, and he's like, it really depends what you're going for. And I was like, man, they both really fit. So once the record label's like, let's do both of them. We all jumped up and was like, that's a great idea.
No, I mean, I have both of them, and I love them, and I'll even hold them up side to side and like compare just because of how like awesome they both are. And again, it's another creepy thing. So everyone out there, just look up Conjure the Storm by Nevalra and just Google images that sucker. Like, take a look at it. It's very creative. It's frightening.
Yeah, that's why I wanted Seth to have his demented brain on that, because I knew it was going to be twisted.
Is he any demented stuff for maybe the second album with him, or is it just still in the air?
I don't know yet. I'll have to see if he's even still available, if he wants to do the art for the next one, because I would love to see what he could come up with on, the next one. I don't even know what the next album would be called yet. I just have guitar riffs and some music theory segments and stuff that I've obsessed over.
Okay, I got you. I mean, you guys just released this one, Pandemic. I don't, we'll hold our breaths, but not for too long. So, because then we'll pass out. Really quick, I know we're kind of crunch time right here, but I've had people ask me these questions, and I figured I would just ask you, because you're the one that writes these lyrics. Are your lyrics demonic, or are they just kind of open-ended to life in general, like the hardships of life?
Both.
Both?
Both.
How so?
Depends on how you want to interpret them. Like we've had discussions over Groom Lake.
Yes, we have.
And if you know, so it really just, you know, look at the lyrics to Descend and Die. Terra Throne is like just straightforward. You know, what you read is what you get on that.
Yeah.
You know, but read try to read between the lines on like Descend and Die, and on Conjure the Storm. Let me think. Take Your Leave. That's another one that would be really good.
Mm-hmm.
If you're into just lyricists that are kind of like trying to get you to, like I said, read between the lines and see where you think that's headed.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you mentioned, like you and I have had separate conversation about Groom Lake, and I know that, like, you know, Groom Lake, Area 51, aliens, but I personally believe that song's about demons. And that's always been my interpretation of it, of just for me, it's about the actuality of demons, the terror of demons, and also like the power that they have and the influence they have over us. And that's beyond our mind capacity. Because, I mean, coming from someone that believes in demons, of course they would know more than me. They would have a power that I couldn't understand, and you know, maybe their power is traveling through time and space. I don't know, but the way you write those lyrics, to me, I never got aliens. I got demons. But then everybody's like, nah, it's about aliens. I'm like, I don't know. So,
well, it reached you in a different form, so you never know. That's why it's such a great. That's why music is so powerful. It's, you know, artwork in audio form, you know, and then when you tie some visuals in with it too, it like gives it a whole nother dimension. So.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, the recent music video you guys came out with Groom Lake did not help my interpretation, because it showed that like silhouette of, I know it was an alien when I watched it, but when I first saw it, I was like, that's the demon. And then I saw its big flipping head, and I was like, oh no, that's the alien. But I was like, could be.
No, one of the coolest things that I want everyone to know about that video.
Okay.
Is our record label M Theory Audio is actually based in Las Vegas, and so once again it ties to a whole nother story. But when I got the record deal, I happened to be in Vegas on vacation. Like I said, that's one of the places we like to go and hang out. So M Theory called up my manager. He called me. He's like, hey, go meet with him. They want to discuss a record deal. And it was completely not planned at all. He was like, I can see he's in town because he's posting photos, you know, on social media or whatever.
Yeah.
Tell him to come meet me in the next day or two when he doesn't, you know, have something planned. So that's how I got the record deal, was in Vegas.
That's pretty cool.
And but long story short, M Theory Audio is in Las Vegas, Nevada, and they're actually like 86 miles, I think, is what they said, from Groom Lake.
Oh.
From Area 51 in that area. So when I mentioned the song as being the single for the reissue, they were like, we were discussing ideas for the video, and they were like, well, you do realize that we're only 86 miles away from Groom Lake. And I was like, oh, it didn't even dawn on me. That's exactly where you are. And so that some of the footage from the Groom Lake video is actually footage from Groom Lake.
Oh, shoot. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's not, you know, like just stock footage. They actually like went out there and got some real footage of Groom Lake that was all tied into it.
Did they see any demons there?
Not that they reported or got on video.
What about aliens? Did they see any aliens there? That's crazy.
Exactly where they got that alien video.
Oh, okay. It was just chilling there. Okay, I got you.
It was in the budget. We got into Area 51, and
that's in the budget. But okay. But a new album's not in the budget.
I'm blacklisted from going back.
Yeah, you took the alien. You ever see Paul? That's what you guys did. So
I saw Will Smith and all the Men in Black. And
oh shoot! Oh man, E.T. and everyone. Oh man.
But I thought that was a pretty cool thing that, you know, they were actually close enough that there's actual footage of Groom Lake in there, you know, and it never dawned on me to go out there and actually get, you know, real footage of it. So yeah. I was pretty excited to hear that when they had kind of thrown that idea out there.
Do you believe in life outside of Earth? I'm not talking like aliens, but just life outside of Earth.
Yeah, there has to be something. Okay. I mean, it's infinite in every direction you look in the sky. And for you to think that there's not something else out there, that's pretty self-centered thinking, I think.
Okay. So, hold on. I'm not...
You know, like, we are a speck.
Yeah.
amongst of all that. There has to be something.
Yeah.
Intelligent or not, there's something.
So I'm not poking fun at you. I just want to make sure I get this. Because I agree with you on that. I mean, you're a darn fool to think we're the only ones out here. So you believe in aliens, or at least another form of life, but demons are on the spectrum of maybe, maybe not.
I'm thinking probably not.
Probably not.
That's just the way I am with it, because when it comes to, like I said, the scientific part of my brain wants to be like, no, you've had thousands of years to prove that they're there or they're not there, and and you haven't been able to prove anything of that sort. But every day they're finding stuff further and further away from Earth that there's possibility of life there.
I got you. No, I mean, that makes sense. No, it makes perfect sense, to be honest. I got you. Well, Scott, that's all the time we have here. Once again, I am going to be terrified editing this, but that's October talk for you. Thank you.
You have to edit in candlelight only.
Yes, while listening to your album and
checking where the mirrors stay or don't stay.
Man, I have a mirror in my editing room, and for the last 3 weeks I've been recording these like creepy October talks. I have been scared to look behind me and to have that mirror just be gone. Like the second that happens, we are done with October talk. So
you will never call me again.
Exactly. Not calling. It's just like, what happened to John? The mirror should have moved. So that's what happened. No, but again, thank you so much. Thanks for giving us all the insight on what your world is about and on the music industry. So anything else you would like to add before you're out of here?
No, just I appreciate you having me on the show, and everyone just go check out all the bands, not only that I'm in, but just the bands that everybody's out there doing, because it's a tough industry, and the further I get into it, the harder it gets. So, we appreciate you guys just tuning in, listening to our stuff, and turning it up when you're at the stoplight so you can bombard everyone else with it.
Of course. All right. Well, Scott Eames, everybody, with Nevalra, Thy Antichrist, and Vital Remains. Thank you so much, Scott.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Of course. All right. Well, this is JC Radio, and we're signing out.